Good morning, and welcome to the Sunrise Safari. Well, the sun has not risen yet, but we have. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today, also out of his pajamas, is Captain Dr. VM. And, well, this is a live and interactive safari. Perhaps you've never joined us before. You can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. If you'd like to talk to us, also you can chat to us on the YouTube chat. Now, very exciting stuff. We've got male lion tracks, and they're going right behind the dam camera, by the way, so they snuck past you. They tiptoed, all of you watching the dam last night, but now I'm trying to figure out where they went from here. Or maybe, I don't think anyone said that they saw the lions on the dam cam. I think they were just heard. But, as we know, that roar can travel for many miles. So sometimes that doesn't always help. But we got some sneaky intel from Herbie, who said that he saw that it was the Birmingham boys last night, 3 of them. How exciting. Now we just need to try and figure out where they've gone. So I'm just here at Vuyatela Dam. Basically the foot, I've still got them. I can try and show you. It's not really nice light to show tracks, but you'll get the idea. They actually snuck right past all our accommodation last night. And where's a goodie? Is that one fine? There's one track. You can see just the back of the foot, and it is massive. I'm not going to jump out because the fact that these lions are already going south on Twin Dams Road means they could have already crossed out, because the Birminghams have not been here for quite some time. Right, Rolf is on a hyena mission, which is fantastic. He does love them so much. Let's go and see if he's, well, heard the whooping or he's seen their tracks.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Taylor, and welcome aboard once again for another Sunrise Safari. You're watching Safari Live. My name is Ralph Kirsten, and on the camera, as my wingman, Davy. How's it, Davy? Now, please don't forget to join us on the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter and on the YouTube live chat. Send us your questions and your comments and join us on the largest game drive in the world. Now, this morning, I've already head out immediately towards Treehouse Dam, because yesterday afternoon, I was hot on the heels of possibly having discovered a new hyena den. And it seems that some of the viewers have been trying to identify the hyenas that we spotted around that little spot where they were digging, as well as the old elephant carcass. So that I think there was somebody that said the one was June, who is one of the matriarchal hyenas around there. So and there was also a second hyena that was identified as Corky, and so that was a lower rung subordinate female. But it seems if June is in the area as a matriarchal female, then that bodes well for us, maybe the whole group moving into the area. So I'm going to start up. We're going to head up here towards Treehouse Dam, see if there's anything around there, and then make our way towards where I found that potential hyena den, and then we'll maybe, if nothing is happening there, this is the best time of the morning or the day to be able to catch up with hyena. If there's no activity there, well, we'll make our way slowly towards Chitwa Dam, see what's happening on that side, and obviously continue following on with the cats. But for me, first prize will be hyena this morning, so let's head on and see how we can go. So as I make my way towards the den, let's head on over to James, who I think can't wait to say hello.
I can't wait to say hello. Hello! Here we are on walk today. We have Sebastian on camera. Hello, Sebastian.
Hello, everyone.
Marvellous. And we have Herbert up front. And we are following the tracks behind Taylor of the 3 male lions that came wandering past here. Possibly the Avoca males, possibly 3 Birmingham boys. I've got absolutely no idea who they are, but we're going to have a look and see. Oops. We are looking for a track to show you, but we're coming straight past the back entrance to Djuma camp, so do excuse the infrastructure, but the lions didn't mind it, so I suppose neither should we. I'm sure, as the other 2 have told you, please talk to us using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Otherwise, you can talk to us using the chat on YouTube. Any questions? Any comments that you might have? We would be very glad to have from you and then deal with. Here is a male lion track. That to me looks like a large male lion. I do not think this is a small male, and from what I understand of the Avoca males, they are pretty much, I don't think they're only about 3 or 4 years old. This is an adult. This is a big adult, unless those Avocas are very large. There's my hand next to the lion track, so it's the same size. I don't have a big hand. Small hand, smells of cabbage, that sort of thing. There you are. So that's one of them. Then here's the other. That's 2. Herbert can see 3. I mean, this doesn't surprise me that Herbert can see more than I can. But there are definitely at least 2 male lions going here. Oh, go big or go home. You say, how do I tell the difference between a lion and a leopard track? Well, basically the size. A leopard track, a male leopard track would fit just into the back pad there of this male lion track. That is how much bigger a male lion is compared with a male leopard. The shape is very similar, although there's a slightly more kidney-shaped outer toe on a lion, but the shape is pretty similar. All the cats are very similarly shaped tracks, but the male lion track is unmistakable. It's massive. The only thing you could confuse this with is a tiger, and if you found a tiger out here, well, you would find yourself in a very strange position indeed. Tracy, you say, aren't I worried about being eaten by lions? No, Tracy, I'm not worried about being eaten by lions. I'm being a little facetious. Tracy, it's not because I'm cavalier or particularly amazed by my own strength and terrifyingness. It's just that lions are afraid of us. And so when you see a lion, and often male lions especially, they tend to be much less brave than the females, they will run away from you, or they'll just stand and sort of growl, and then you move away and they'll be fine. They do not see us as something to eat. It's very different from, say, walking out onto the Arctic and trying to find a polar bear on foot, just 3 of us like this. Then you would be asking for trouble. You'd probably be eaten fairly swiftly. Or, I'm trying to think of another animal that sees us as fair game. Crocodiles see us as fair game, and if you were to just go swimming in a crocodile-infested pool, you would definitely be eaten. But out here, walking in amongst the lions and the leopards, it's really very much not like that. Okay, good. Ralph Kirsten, who found Corky, the hyena, yesterday, seemed to be excavating a den. Let's see what she got up to in the interim.
Thanks, James. And yes, everyone, we've come back to the area where Corky was digging. It seems like there might have been some more digging on this termite mound. We've come down a little bit closer, and yes, there has been some more digging. However, we're not seeing any hyena around at the moment. But I'm still holding thumbs that this is a new potential den site, because it seems there's been more digging since we left yesterday. It's fresh ground that's on top of the digging after we left her. So there has been more excavation, and all signs are pointing towards a potential den site. But yeah, I'm getting my hopes up, because you know how much I enjoy being around the hyena. But as I say, for the moment, if they are denning here or thinking about it, they're not in the direct vicinity at the moment. Or there might be 1 or 2 in the actual hole. That's also a possibility. Maybe they've already gone down for the night. You know, yesterday, with the rain that we had, they were out quite late during the day as well. So you know how it goes. If you spend a lot of time out at night, well, you might spend a lot of time inside, in bed, during the day. So we're swapping a little bit of daytime, nighttime activity here. So possibly they may be just resting up and getting some sleep, because they spent a little bit of party time outside. So anyway, I think we need to continue. Maybe let's go back to the elephant carcass and see if there's more around there. Nancy, wonderful question, because we've got a lot of these termite mounds around in the area, and a lot of the hyena use these particular sites as den sites, as well as a lot of other animals. But how old is it? I would say this is at least a couple of 100 years old. Look at the sheer size of it. It is huge. And obviously, you know, the little termites are very small and they can work very fast. But to build such a big termite mound like that, it's the size of a small hut. And you could probably house a few people in there if you had to hollow it out on the inside. So it is rather large and a lot of space, ample space for a perfect hyena den. And you could even have leopard or lion even denning inside here as well. Not obviously together, but it's a massive termite mound. And as I say, I would say that that's at least 100 years old, maybe even going on to 200. So this particular mound has seen the times come and go. Right, everyone, I'm going to start up. Let's head back through the bush, leave this one alone, and we're heading to the elephant carcass.
Right. I was trying to find, I think I've maybe found them again. The lion tracks. No, I found leopard tracks now. How exciting is that? On Vulture's Nest. It looks like big female footprints, in fact. So now we don't know which way the lions went. Obviously, we've been tracking. If you haven't, you just jumped on board again. We do a quick recap. We've been following the sets of 3 male lion tracks, and basically, Herbie had seen 3 Birminghams at the gate last night, so we know it's the Birmingham footprints, and they're quite large. But we didn't see where on Twin Dams they sort of disappeared. So they could have either gone east towards Buffelshoek Dam, or the other place that they also could have gone, they could have gone further west. But just thinking that they've only just arrived on the property, we know they're up here to make their presence known again. So the Avoca males are just 3 young male lions that are trying to stake their claim on Birmingham territory. Well, the more time the Birminghams spend away, the more chance that there's going to be of them losing this. But with 3 big Birminghams versus 3 of those young Avocas, doesn't really stand a chance. Now, I just know the Avoca males are nowhere near the size of the Birminghams. There's a serious age difference as well. I think the Birminghams must be about, what, almost 8 now? Must be close to 7.5, 8 years old. And the Avocas are only just around 5. So there's a serious age difference between and size difference between a 5-year-old lion and an 8-year-old lion. 8-year-old lion's coming into his prime. He's big. His mane is probably not going to get much bigger, nor in size. I suppose that just depends on how much they eat. Hey, that would determine that too. So I don't know where the leopard tracks go. They may not sure exactly who is here. Now we've got leopards, lions on the cards. I'm not sure who we're going to see next.
Here we have a crested barbet, everybody, and he's sitting on the tree just next to the Djuma Dam. Has he flown away? Oh, how very nasty of him. He's in this Senegalia tree over here, but it's so dark in there, it's like night time inside the foliage. Oh, how sad. Oh well, we saw him. That was quite nice. In case you're wondering why Taylor didn't say we're linking to James or something similar like that, it's because we're practicing for our new show this afternoon at 4 o'clock, where there will be no linking. There will just be this kind of organic across. We're just going to see if it works. Okay. Taylor's now calling Herbert on the radio. Let's continue walking along here, see what we can see in the waterhole. We didn't carry on the tracks because they're going straight south, which means that, you know, I think they're probably going to cross out of the reserve, and Taylor, obviously in a car, is going to go a lot more quickly. So we'll go towards the east and see if we can't find Thandi or her cub Tlalamba. Ravinda, you say that there are a lot of pretty birds in Djuma. There are many pretty birds in Djuma, Ravinda. Some 250 to 300 species of birds have been seen here. Not all of them pretty, but many of them very gorgeous. And the crested barbet, of course, is one of those because it's covered in yellows and oranges and reds. Very sort of quiet dawn chorus this morning. A couple of hornbills going. Some Cape turtle doves. But other than that, not much. It's a very peaceful sort of Saturday morning, really. Do you feel at peace, Sebastian?
Very.
Sebastian looks very peaceful today, which is excellent. You know, with his fairly volatile Gallic nature, you want him to feel peaceful when you go on walk with him. There we go. Okay, let's have a look at this tree. This tree is one of the smaller examples of Senegalia burkii, or the black monkey thorn. Now, of course, all of these used to be called acacias, which I'm going to stop saying fairly soon. But this one is quite nice because you can see why it's called black monkey thorn. And let me just get to a spot where Seb doesn't have to fall down the bank in order to observe what I'm looking at. If you look over here, here we go. Can you see where my finger is? Can you see the tip of the thorn there is black? Well, that's where it gets its name, the black monkey thorn, from. Why it's called a monkey thorn, I'm not sure. I can only assume it's because monkeys like the pods, but monkeys will eat most of the pods of these Senegalia trees. And you don't want to get your foot stuck in here. It will tear the skin off you. And yet, if you are a giraffe or some other browsing creature, you can see where my stick is pointing now. This particular branch has been browsed. You'd put your mouth over that and then pull the leaves off. Can you imagine putting your mouth over that, Seb, and then pulling the leaves off? What that would do to your palate and to your tongue. I mean, it really is quite remarkable. Question from somebody whose name I've forgotten, and I apologize profusely, but you want to know, oh, John Michael, you say, what do we take on walk with us? Well, I bring my stick. Very nice. I take a pair of binoculars, very important, to be able to spot things with. Then I have my camera in here. I very seldom take pictures on bushwalk, but just in case. Something camera-worthy will happen if I don't take it with me. But most importantly, in here is my ash bag, which ideally, I mean, if you're really an executive guide, this will be made of an original buffalo scrotum, but it is just an old sock at the moment, and it's filled with ash. And what it does is allow you to tell the direction of the wind. You flick it and it lets ash off. And it's because animals' senses of smell are so much more powerful than ours. So if you're tracking something like an elephant or a herd of buffalo, you want to know where your scent is moving all the time. So I keep it in there. And if we get close to something or start tracking something big, we just pop it over the top of the stick and shake it about.
Very nice to always have an ash bag with you. Some of you know I use something a little bit different. New age technology, you know us young folk. I like to use an eyedrop bottle filled with ash. Obviously you've got to let it dry out first and then puff it away because it makes for easy traveling. Or scrub hair dung. I was telling you the other day how many times I find scrub hair dung in my jacket pockets. Probably not the greatest thing. That and rocks. I always pick up rocks and put them in my pocket too. Anyways, so we're trying to figure out what's going on. I can't see any more lion tracks yet on Central. So I'm now starting to think that... Hang on, let me just check here properly. That perhaps they may have gone to the west. See, the ground is fairly soft here. So if there was going to be a big lion track on the floor, then it would be there. So I can't even remember what year the Birminghams were born in. For some reason I don't have their ages in my book, but I'm pretty sure just before I left the Mara, or not before the Mara, but when we stopped sort of seeing the Birminghams, weren't they already like Nsuku and them were, or maybe they're closer to 7. Definitely Nsuku and Nena are older, the two of them, older than Mfumo, and Tignon, which are the two younger boys. We could see that quite nicely in their mains at one point. Now they would have evened out slightly, but maybe they are just closer to 7. But they sometimes we forget, and it's a big mistake as guides. We're terrible. We never age animals. They just sort of stay 6 months for their entire life. You hear that a lot, and we're all guilty of kind of doing it. But they are indeed aging. But maybe someone can tell me exactly when they were born. They are from the Birmingham Pride, which is seen regularly, sort of the Timbavati Kruger area, and particularly Ngala, which is a lodge. And beyond lodge down that way, they tend to see the Birmingham Pride, and they're from that pride. But I haven't got a clue exactly what year they were born in. I'm sure it must have been at least around 2011, somewhere around there. Something along those lines, maybe even a bit earlier than that. Okay, let's get back to business. The light, thankfully, is improving, so we should be able to see tracks a little bit better now, which would be nice. And I really want to see lions. I'm all for seeing a leopard. However, it's been a long time since I've seen a male lion. I think I've only seen male lions once this whole cycle, and I've been here for almost 8 weeks now, which is a little bit sad. Oh no, I talk nonsense. I got to see the Avocas too, but it wasn't on Djuma, it was on Bavuzuk. Now, Bright Night, the Nkuhumas have decided to settle on Simbambili at the moment. They're sort of hanging between Arathusa and Simbambili, which is towards the Gowrie Gate, west from where we are now. And basically where the Birminghams were seen, they were on that boundary. And they're hanging quite close to the boundary, so they could make their return at any time. Kirsten, we're going to go down in Yala Road South, because I just want to check it, just in case. And, Oh, hi, Thandi. Oh, that's nice. Look at me all looking. So this is Thandi's tracks we've obviously had. Well spotted, Via. And I promise you, do you know how often this happens as well, where you just drive, you turn down a road and you don't look. She was coming around the corner as I was reversing to try and get up onto Nyala Road South, off of Central. So this is definitely her tracks, because, well, we just had them on Vulture's Nest, which is a couple of 100 meters away from us. So she was just a few steps ahead. We will then take this leopard. We will leave the lions for now. I assume that those lions have gone west, unless they've done a sneaky. Maybe that's why Thandi's turned around. Maybe she's gone, ooh, there's some big cats down there. We won't go to Biffles Dam. Because this is a gremlin-infested area. I don't know if our signal's going to play ball, but we're going to follow the leopard before we lose her. We'll give her a bit of room. She obviously doesn't have Tlalamba with her, as you can see. She's just having a little sniff at the moment. Just going to switch off very quickly. She's going to walk up in a gremlin-infested area. Right, well, guess what? And I bet you all guessed it. We're going to be following Thandi.
Here we have a dung pile, and very good news that Thandi has been found. We did see her tracks on the road here, and we thought, how very exciting, we might find Thandi. And then Taylor ruined my morning. Thanks, Taylor. Thank you. We're standing here in the fresh midden of a rhinoceros. And you can see this is definitely a bull. What he's come and done here is he's defecated, and then he's pushed it around with his feet, and now he'll walk off, leaving his scent on the road down there. Our plan, of course, must now change. We're going to go down towards where the last tracks of the lions were and see if we can't figure out where they are. I'm pretty sure that they've crossed out of Djuma, but I might be wrong. And, well, it'll be very exciting to see these 3 male lions on foot and see how they react to us. Hopefully not with a sort of hungered, slavering attack. Very unlikely that that would be the case. Okay, so this is the rhino midden. Let's continue on our way. There's something quite interesting here. Obviously this midden is used as a midden all the time, but also, while the toilet is quite close by, so is the rubbing post, which of course if you're a rhino is very important in the modern rhino's bathroom. You need your loo, and then you need your rubbing post, and this is a sort of excellent vintage rubbing post that one would expect to find in a modern, well-to-do rhinoceros bull's bachelor pad. He can come here after he has relieved himself, have a bit of a rub, just before settling into his evening newspaper, whiskey and cigars. I don't know if any of you knew that, but that's what rhinos like to have in the evenings, whiskey and cigars. It's quite a good rubbing post. Okay, on we go.
Well, we've got Thandi again. She's just slinking past the car. Hello, beautiful girl. Now, she's a really cool cat, Thandi. You just got to kind of take her with a pinch of salt every now and then. Her mood does change, and she's all over the show. For those of you who have no idea who Thandi is and you're wondering what on earth I'm talking about, she's a cat, obviously, a leopard, as you can clearly see, and she is the daughter of Kruger, who was a queen in this area, but sadly she disappeared and is no longer with us anymore. Last year in about March, and this is one of her first litter, hey? And then there was another leopard named Shadow too, so Shadow and Thandi are sisters, but we also haven't seen... Oh, I was going to say, Rusty, this is not a time to not start. And Shadow sadly hasn't been seen for a while, but that doesn't mean that she's disappeared. There's just a lot of pressure from Hukamuri, who's a new male that's pushed into the area. Now, this leopard does have a young cub named Tlalamba, and we saw her tracks yesterday, so we know she is still around. I will assume that Thandi is on the move because she's looking for something to eat to take home to Tlalamba. She is not... She's not hunting on her own yet. Look at that tail twitching. She's listening out now for anything that may be rustling in the grass. Excuse me. I've still got the sneezes. Very cool. Now, how exciting. It seems as though the roles have reversed. We were tracking lions, but we found a leopard. Ralph was tracking hyenas, but he found a lion.
Found lions we have, everyone, and well, that's always the luck of the draw, isn't it? You go out with a positive attitude, positively looking for animals, and well, we weren't looking for lions, but we have found some, and it looks like these Birmingham boys are just relaxing here next to Twin Dams. Not sure if it was them calling this morning that I heard at about 4:15, bright and early, as I was having my morning coffee. It wasn't coming from this direction. I didn't think so. Anyway, you know, sometimes it's quite deceptive because it can sort of almost echo in wherever you are, and you can think it's coming from the opposite direction to where it really is. So it could have been them, but I think I'm still hearing the Avoca males calling every morning, but that's towards Buffelshoek Hook side. And, well, I'm not too sure which lions these are, because, you know, I'm still really learning these males, and the first time since I've been back that I've actually seen the lions, and last time when I was here I did see the Birminghams, and I do believe that the manes on these lions are rather small. These look like youngsters, so I think all the viewers, I think you are absolutely 100% correct. I think these are the other newcomers to the block, the Avoca males. So they're pushing in south, coming down here, because I think the Birminghams have also pushed off a little bit. I haven't seen any lion signs since I've been back, and this is the first I've seen of it. So there is this opportunity for these males now to move into this area, with the Birminghams being away a little bit. So when the cat's away, the mice come out to play, and well, these young males may be now taking their chances, hey? But wonderful to see a new group of males and new lions for me. And I was also wondering, as I approached, they were very nervous. And I didn't notice that when I was first on Djuma with the Birminghams as well. They were very relaxed around vehicles. They didn't worry at all. And these youngsters maybe being a little bit more nervous, not as habituated. You see that male? He's looking at or picking up a scent. So we're going to stay here next to this dam for quite a while. I want to see what happens with these guys. But from one cat to another, it's always wonderful to see some different cats. Let's head off to Taylor.
James. Was it James, or was it Ralph that they were with? Ralphie. Well, it's so hard getting into a new habit, hey? Okay, what we're going to do is, let me reposition quickly. Or do you think that's fine, VM? Do you want me to go a bit further forward? We're going to be doing an unscheduled broadcast in a moment. I just want to go up a little bit further before we start it, because there's a bend. And I'll go silent in a minute. Just want to wait for the road to straighten out so we can just watch her sort of slink away, which would be quite nice. Okay. Right, Kirsten, I'm ready. Good morning and welcome to this live safari in the Sabi Sandwiltuin in South Africa within the Greater Kruger National Park. We're with a female leopard who's on the move. We're going to catch up to her in just a moment. My name is Taylor McCurdy and on camera with me today is VM. And if you do have any questions for this live and interactive safari, I'd be more than happy to answer them. So all you have to do is comment away. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with a Safari Live, we follow basically the lives of various animals. And Thandi, which is this leopard we've got in front of us, is one of the stars of the show. Now, we see her on a regular basis. Now, for any of you who have never been to South Africa before, the Sabi Sandwiltuin probably won't sound too familiar, but it is the land of the leopards. If you want to see these beautiful cats with rosettes, this is the place to go. The density of them is absolutely incredible. Actually, lions and leopards are kind of everywhere. It's really, really amazing and one of the best places to come on a luxury wilderness safari, because we are out in the wild, of course. And she's on the move. She's using the road networks at the moment, which the cats will do. Well, a lot of the animals will do. I don't blame her. Lots of dew on the grass this morning. I don't think she wants to get her feet or her coat wet. Christina, you said that she is a gorgeous creature. That she is. Now, she's listening out for something at the moment. I suspect she's hoping that a duiker or a steenbok, which are two types of antelope that we get in this area, or any antelope, from an impala to a young kudu, young waterbuck, she's waiting to hear one of them make a move, rustling as they maybe feed on some leaves, or perhaps sling through or nibbling on the grass as well. She's listening again now. You can see that tail is like her brain, if you will. And she's sort of thinking about what her next move is. You can see her nose, her ears are all working at the same time. Maybe she's heard something in the bushes to the right. Now, Snazzy, you're quite right. The grass is very tall, which is going to work in this leopard's favor. However, she has got a couple of things against her this morning. And the fact that the sun has not risen just yet. It's hiding behind a wall of clouds. All the birds are starting to chirp. And the birds are not exactly a leopard's friends. Right. Very cool. We're going to keep following this leopard. But apparently, there are some lions on the property too.
There are some lions on the property as well, everybody, and welcome aboard. My name is Ralph Kirsten, and we're sitting here next to Chitwa Dam, and you're watching Safari Live. But I tell you what an amazing experience. We're on the same property, not far from each other, and we can watch lions, leopards, elephants, and the rest. It is totally, absolutely wonderful. in South Africa. It's one of the only places in the world, not in this particular area, but a little bit down the coast, where you would be able to watch the Big Five in the morning and go for a surf in the afternoon, and maybe even see some whales and dolphins. Now, how about that for an amazing experience? But back to our particular property here, we have wonderful lodges, everybody being hosted in all the different budgets, from exclusive luxurious lodges to self-catering, and well, you can have the best guides in the business, and you can come out here and see these animals doing what they do, fully immersed in nature. And well, these animals aren't on command, and they're doing what lions do best, and that is sleeping. They sleep for up to 20 hours a day, and they've probably been quite busy during the evening, so this is now them just catching up on some downtime. But wonderful for us to be here next to the dam, and it's nice and early morning, it's fresh. Ash, thank you for commenting. Well, yes, it's wonderful to see these lions, and well, wonderful that you're joining us out here on this real live safari. And everyone, it's just a small indication that we'd love for you to join us out here. Shepang, lions and leopards do interact quite a lot, and they will fight for food. It's especially when leopards catch some prey and the lions pick up that they're in the area. It's normally when the prey actually give off that dying scream or the distress signals that the lions pick up that there's other predators in the area, and they're obviously bigger and stronger than the leopards, so they'll move in and chase the leopard off the food, or chase them up a tree. That's the reason why leopards generally try to get their prey immediately up a tree. Now this lion's got his head up. He's looking out over the other side of the dam, because there is another male lion just hiding off into the grass there, or the bushes just in front of us. He's up over there, but it's just difficult to see between the thickets there. This is a coalition of 3 males, and well, it just gives them that much more chance of being able to survive in this particular area, because there's a lot of males, a lot of lions, a lot of leopards. And speaking of leopards, let's head you on back to Taylor, who's got one of those beautiful cats.
Now, Thandi is still plotting her next move. Just walking very slowly, not in a hurry to go anywhere, as leopards normally. Well, they don't need to rush around. Now, you can see that tail as it's moving higher and higher up. She's a little bit frustrated, not with us, but with the birds that are giving her presence away. Now, Tierra, we're in the Sabi Sand Wildtuin, which is a beautiful wilderness area bordering on the Greater Kruger National Park here in South Africa. So we're in the northeastern corner of South Africa at the moment. And like I was saying earlier, it is an amazing place to come to for a safari, or even into the Kruger National Park. There are many, many different areas around here. They sort of have these open ecosystems. So essentially, the animals have got over 8 million acres of land to move around on. It's huge. And this extends right up to the Kruger to Mozambique. So where I'm sitting right now, I reckon Mozambique is maybe only about 150 kilometers away as the crow flies. But this cat, if she wanted to, could walk there, but she probably won't, because she's territorial. So she will mark and defend an area and then sort of live permanently here. Now, obviously she could be going after anything. So Nandini, no, an impala's not too fast for a leopard. You see, the thing with leopards is that they're not going to chase after their prey. So as long as an impala doesn't know that Thandi or any leopard or any lion is around, and they're able to stalk up to it, and ideally a leopard needs to get within 15 to 20 meters of its prey before it can, of course, have a really, really good chance of catching it. Unfortunately, these cats are not the most successful, especially when they are relying on stealth. Something like a wild dog or a hyena is way more successful because they're not relying on stealth, they're chasing down their prey. Now, of course, like I said to you, these are wild animals, so they hunt for themselves. We don't feed them in any way. We're just lucky enough to observe them, which is why we're giving her enough space. So, Michael, it depends on how often a leopard can catch a meal. That would determine how often they eat. I mean, she doesn't look like she's eaten for maybe 2 or 3 days. She's just in here. She's now moved off the road onto a little animal pathway to see if she can find something else. She's going to try her luck. Maybe she's going to go towards the drainage lines. So it depends. If she can catch something successfully every single day, she'll eat every single day. But then she also runs the risks of getting her kills stolen by other leopards, perhaps hyenas, if she's not quick enough to take it up a tree. And that's one of the amazing sort of adaptations that a leopard has, is that they are strong enough to pick their food up and take it up, hoist it in a tree, and keep it for safekeeping. Not safe from lions, though. Lions are also able to climb trees, not as well as a leopard, though, and have also been known to steal leopard kills. But she's really, really looking for something now. And I think if we keep following her and keeping our distance, we'll probably get lucky. Now, both male and female leopards are territorial, so as we were saying, what that means is that they mark and defend territories through vocalization, so leopards soar, and then also scent marking, typically urine spraying up against trees. And have any of you ever had your cat come past you and rub its cheek on your leg? That's how they scent mark too. They've got glands in their cheeks. So David, both of them are likely to fight. However, you're not going to see too many males within a specific area. You're more likely to see more females. So you'll have females that have their territories up against one another, and then you'll have a male leopard that may pass through and has a much larger territory than any of the females. So one male leopard could have 4 or 5 female leopards within his territory, maybe even a few more. So the chances are maybe females are going to fight a bit more, unless there's a lot of, up-and-coming young male leopards that have decided to disperse and push some of the older boys out. Then you're going to see a bit of fighting. Like at the moment, we've been seeing a lot of fighting, more so with the males than the females, as a new leopard by the name of Hukumuri has moved into the area. And Thandi, very nervous of him, because she does have a young cub. So it is vital, absolutely vital, that she catches a meal so that she can of course provide a meal for her little one. Now, I don't know what she's seen or heard. I don't think she's spotted anything right this minute. She's walking straight towards the car. And let's just have a quick look. Let's just see. Maybe she has seen something. Perhaps there's a herd of impala just feeding. Maybe a nyala. The thing with hunts, though, is that they don't just happen straight away. Sometimes they can take 10 seconds. Other times they can take a couple of hours. But I don't think she's spotted anything just yet. Well, if she has, she's definitely a fair way off. So I think we're going to say goodbye to all of you. But if you would like to continue watching Safari Live, all you have to do is Google us. And, well, we hope to see you all soon. So for myself and VM, it's been great. And we'll catch you next time. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Do you know what I've just seen, though, Kirsten? She has seen something, but she's probably about 200, 300 meters away. It looks like a impala. He's going to go, he might be able to see him. He's very far away, though. She's got a lot of work to do. So what we'll do is... But, like I said, she's far away. This is going to take her quite some time to get there, so we'll just stick with her She doesn't like the wet grass. She's not really having much of it today. You've ever seen her earlier, how I've never seen a leopard lift their paws so high over the top of grass. They're like that. She doesn't want to touch the grass too much. She has spotted this impala. Now she needs to try and find a way through there. I don't think I'm going to follow her off-road. I think we're going to try and stick on this main road. And hopefully she doesn't venture sort of too far east. I do need to call the sighting in at some point, but I just need to tell them that they need to be careful coming into this because they're going to chase the impala. I might actually just hold off for a moment because she has spotted the prey. The station's coming into this leopard sighting. We're not far from the Nyala Road North and South Junction, but please be aware she spotted an impala. I'm further west on Central. The impala is almost at that junction. So maybe just stand by at the Central Nyala Road North and South Junction and then just wait for her to come back that side. We don't have a view of her. Let me go a little bit further forward. Further forward for you, VM. So us being on the road is okay because the impalas are used to vehicles driving on the road. I don't want to drive well, I can't drive at the minute, I'm stalling. I just don't want to go and drive and chase that impala, and we also don't want anybody to push the impala this side. That's of course not fair. So we can move up a little bit further. She's not going to use the road, she's going to use the bush next to us. Can you see her? She's just in here, hey? Oh, there she is. Here we go. There's a little gap. So for her, and she's very far away, so I'm also not too stressed right now about the way that I'm talking. Impala doesn't know what's going on, and I actually can't see him anymore, so I think he may have moved off just around the corner. He's just feeding. Like I said, Thandi's so far away. I think she's still deciding, is it worth it? Is she going to continue? Is she going to pursue this young impala ram? I don't actually know if it was a young impala ram. Now I'm talking utter nonsense. It could have been a fully grown impala ram, but she's still being quite quiet with her movements. See, she's just slinking. She doesn't know, I don't think she knows where, I don't think she really knows where it's gone now. See, she looks like she's trying to spot it again. But now the birds are shouting. You can hear a couple of upset francolins every now and then. So make your move, girl. I think you must move out of this area because the birds know you here. By the way, she's amazing how she just slunk under that little, there's a little guarri growing there, without even touching it. Yeah, trying to be as careful as possible. I can see one of the other vehicles, and it's good. They did stand by on the junction. If she does walk out on the road, they'll get a view of her in just a minute. Let me just update them. She's slowly coming that way. I don't know if you can still see the impala that is around there, but she's still stalking from far away. Okay, copy, great. She's not far off the road now, but she's coming in your direction. There you go. Very cool. We're definitely going to watch this unfold. I'm very excited, and I wish Thandi the best. And hopefully she can sneak up closer to those impala.
Here we have a Nyala. Very exciting stuff going on here today. Cats all over the place. Many of you will be referring to today as Cat Day, of course. We're sitting there with something else that Thandi might like to eat, and that is, of course, a Nyala. We're not too far from those Avoca males. They are precisely where Herbert predicted they would be, at Twin Dams. He saw the tracks, he said that's where they are. Go straight there. Bob, as they say, is your uncle, and there they are. So we are now obviously sort of randomly wandering about the place because those are the two targets we had, Thandi and the males. But now we will try and find some other tracks of something else and just enjoy what comes our way as we go. These, to my mind, the most beautiful antelope that there are, certainly in southern Africa. And it is the most gorgeous morning. There's a thick bank of cloud over us, but there's a wonderful smell in the air, and I wonder, it's got a hint of sea in it, you know. And I wonder if there isn't something from the Mozambican Channel that has just sort of drifted into this area. It is about 150, 200 kilometers away, the sea. But I guess on the strong southeaster, it's possible that we could get that little hint of the sea, which always makes me feel slightly like I'm on holiday. So beautiful smells, perfect temperature, and delightful, peaceful animal. Liz, you're all the way in Wisconsin, which always reminds me of the film Love Actually. Never mind. With Liz, you say, are these nyala fully grown? They are fully grown. That's a fully grown nyala cow. Possibly a few youngsters behind her, but she's an adult. It's an adult cow. Very dainty, very agile, moving with silence. Don't know when the last time any of you tried to sneak around was, but to try and sneak around in the dead of the night and be quiet about it, and that is almost impossible. You will be amazed how noisy we are as human beings, and if you're trying to sneak up on an animal or track an animal, you suddenly become aware of how incredibly noisy we are when we move our feet. And because our feet, of course, are not sharp hooves or softly padded paws, these kind of unwieldy long things that are not particularly agile, very good for balancing on, but not very agile, you make amazing noise when you walk. Let's just go up here a second. There's an emerald spotted wood dove, or shivambalana ring. It's making a very mournful call. Sounds so sad, so deeply upset at the passing of the summer season. Shivambalana, Shivambalana, ule kwihi, where are you? Oh, there are a few of them mournfully singing today, which I think is a bit sad, given that it's not a very sad day at all. It's gorgeous. Can you hear that one? Not really. I'm sorry about that, everybody. It's just going doo 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 doo.
Yes, everybody, look at this. These lines still very flat next to the dam, but at least this one with a little bit of more of a black mane. He's up. He's had a bit of an itch, and he seems to be doing a little bit of grooming. You watch there. He's got a little bit of an itch. He's been quite comical in the way he's been scratching. And sometimes you see when they got a real itch, and they when they get the itch with their leg or the paw, and then their tongue starts coming out and licking their nose, it's quite funny. But he's just now doing a little bit of grooming, and well, he's looking like he's going to grow into a big male lion. That mane is starting to turn dark, but he's still got that little bit of that punk hairstyle on the top, standing up like a bit of a mohawk, and as the rest of them have as well. But his is a bit better than the rest. I wonder if he's slightly older, or he's slightly got a slightly more testosterone. You see there that mohawk there, very good indication that they're in their sort of 2 to 3 years of age, and then once they hit about 4, the hair's quite a lot longer, and it all falls down. There's not really any standing up as it is over there. So these males, well, they obviously got a nice coalition with 3 of them, but the Birminghams, well, they're old and experienced, However, they're not in the direct vicinity at the moment, so they're all right for now. But these males aren't big enough or experienced enough just yet to be able to challenge the Birminghams, I would say. So if the Birminghams come back into the area, they're going to have to hot-foot it out of it. Carol, now the territories that coalitions need and the size of which is all dependent on the resources, because you look at the Masai Mara and the territories of those lions there with the huge concentration of predators in direct proportion to the ratio of the size or numbers of prey species, all the antelope, the wildebeest and zebra and gazelle, etc., means that their territories can be a lot smaller because they've got enough food or resources within that area. But so there in the Masai Mara, we've got huge numbers of lions, huge numbers of predators, and also their territories being very small. Here in the Kruger National Park, the resources excuse me, are a little bit less than what they have there, and so their territories are quite a lot larger. And also, the resources or the game, they do move around a lot more here, seasonally, or not seasonally, randomly. And so these lions need a lot bigger territory. So it can be from the extremes of the desert lions in Namibia, where they've got massive territories, extending hundreds of kilometers, to the smaller territories with the massive resources in the Masai Mara.
Look how cool this is. My second official sighting of Tlalamba. Hello, beautiful. This is amazing. There's some very, very unhappy squirrel, though, of course. So, unsuccessful hunt from Thandi. The two big impala rams spotted her and snorted out loud. Now, this is amazing. We are going to give them space, just because I know Tlalamba, she's getting there. She's getting quite relaxed with the cars, but she'll be a little bit nervous of us still driving around. So what we will be doing is stopping and then just viewing from a distance. And we also know that Thandi's behavior might change slightly now from being very relaxed and slinking past the car to, well, maybe showing some teeth if we get too close. But so cool, I'm so happy. And I bet you're all jumping for joy to see Tlalamba because, of course, as you know, this is very, very vulnerable for this little cub. We know that the success rate of young lions, of young leopards, is not particularly good. Who are you calling now? I think she might be excited to see her little one too. See how she keeps looking back at us though. This is amazing. I'm so happy. She's doing sort of making little chuffing sounds now. I'm just going to jump on the radio. So now. Right. Well, this is amazing. Now, the habituation process of whee! It's a big jump. The habituation process of leopards is very, very important. I mean, if we want them to be relaxed as they are, it is good that we give them space. But we can go forward now. We'll jump on up ahead. I can't believe look at our luck, how it's changed. My hat. A short, small one. Kirsten wants to do a short, small, and radio broadcast. You just creep in here. A tiny short one, Kirsten. Let me try. See, Tlalamba's just running just a little bit. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try and go around, and just so that the vehicle that is behind me can also get a view. I just need to watch Thandi. I know she's staring at me. Oh, it's okay. And then Kirsten, we must be quick. But I'm ready. I'm going to switch the car off and then we're ready. And then, like I said, Good morning and welcome to this live safari from the Sabi Sandwiltuin here in South Africa. We are with one of our favorite characters, Thandi, and I've got good news for you, even though you can't see it at the moment. Young Tlalamba is also slinking through the grass with Mom. If you look very carefully, you may even see her spring up out of the grass and try and attack her mother, who is her play toy currently. But there it is, there she is. Hello, little girl, and I bet you're all very, very excited to see that this little one is doing so well. Thandi is a good manner, though. The squirrels and the birds are not particularly happy at the moment, but that's just one of those things. Now, my name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me is VM. And like I said, this is live and interactive, so if you've got any questions, comment away, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Ooh, where they're going now? Oh, Tlalamba's practicing her climbing skills. She'll be bounding from branch to branch. Oh, big stretch up, scratch those claws. Oh, copying Mom. Or should I say, Mom copying daughter. Here we go, little one. This is amazing. Look at this. Look how sweet. Absolutely precious she is. Now, Wisteria, you're quite right. They do blend in very well, but that's the idea of the rosettes on a leopard, is that, of course, they help with camouflage. And Thandi has been trying to catch an impala this morning, but unfortunately the impala outsmarted her and snorted and spotted her, and then she gave up. And then she called the little one out, which was a nice surprise. But we had an idea that this is where Thandi had stashed young Tlalamba after yesterday morning's safari, if you were watching. Now, Megan, hello. I bet because you're a little bit confused whether this is a real live safari or not. Well, it's 1 minute after 7 a.m. Central African time, and yes, this is happening right now. And these are wild leopards too, so we're not in a zoo of any sorts. We're essentially in the greater Kruger National Park, this massive ecosystem, and these animals that live here, from the leopards to the lions, the elephants, the impala, the kudu, the zebra, the hippos, have an area of over 8 million hectares. Not 8 million hectares, 8 million acres of land to move around on. So it's a huge wildlife system, which is very cool. But here in the Sabi Sand, which is where we're situated, it's the best place to see leopards. Well, I suppose the proof is in the pudding this morning. But just a little update from us at Safari Live to show you that young Tlalamba is alive and well, and Thandi seems to be thriving with all the rain about. There's lots and lots of animals for her to potentially go after. If you'd like to continue watching Safari Live and, well, the adventures of these two this morning, all you have to do is Google us. Just pop Safari Live into Google. For myself and VM, we'll catch up with you soon. How awesome. It's really cool, everybody. Aren't we just having the most magical morning? And I suppose this kind of happens, hey? Sometimes you don't always win with sightings, and I've had a few quiet drives, but, well, things seem to have changed this morning.
Well, yes, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, and sometimes some people win more than other people, and that's why we are not very equal. Wondering how long I can let this awkward silence hang. Okay, come down and have a look over here. Oh, my aging knees. Here we have an interesting plant, and it is, of course, an albizia plant, Albizia harvii, or the false thorn. And you can see it looks like one of those vachilias, or eldercacia trees. But it is not. It is completely thornless. And unlike that nasty black monkey thorn, which I would never do this with, you can rub your hands over the top of it. And the elephants absolutely love this tree, Albizia harvii, and it's why they don't ever get bigger than, trying to see if there is a biggish one, they don't ever get bigger than this, around about this size. And here's another one, completely stunted. And in areas where you don't have elephants, they grow into enormous trees, sort of 3 to 5 meters tall. So that's the common false thorn, Albizia harvii. Good. Let us continue. We might see if we can't get a view of those lions on foot. We know where they are. There are some people still going there in their vehicles, and so we're going to let the other vehicles go in and out first before we go, just in case they run off, which I don't think they will. But it'll be quite interesting to see, just to see them on foot first of all. I've never seen them. And, I mean, we're not going to try and get them to react to us. We'll just try and get a view, because I would quite like to see the Avoca males. So it isn't, by no means, we're not going in there as a sort of Red Bull extreme sport. Alrighty, let's continue along the road.
Right, Thandi is taking us on a wanderabout this morning, and Tlalamba. That's a funny name to say, hey? I promise you, it took us all on the breakfast to try and get it. Even before I say it, I have to say it in my head first. Tlalamba. Okay, Kirsten, let's hear if you can say it. Kirsty says she can't say it still. Come on, surely you can. She's going, Tlalamba, Tlalamba. Oh, there they are. Ah, man, what you doing up there, guys? I'm just trying to slink around here to get a view, because Thandi always does this when we live, and I'm so happy for all of you, but I have not been able to take a decent photograph. I've had to dig into the archives as of late to make any posts. Now I wish that young Tlalamba would join Mom up there. Kirsten says I'm allowed to take one photo. You can see, what are you getting annoyed with, Thandi? Don't pull those faces. And she's chopping for the little one again. With my eyes closed, Kirsten says. No, but you see, I don't know if the right is light. The light is right, not the right is light. Light is right. Where did Tlalamba go? See, again, she's a little bit nervous, so maybe she was a bit spooked that I moved the car slightly off-road. I mean, we didn't do extravagant off-roading. But she does have to get used to that. She has to get used to the sound of our voices, to radios in the other cars. Not everybody has earpieces. But wherever you don't want to go, oh, there, little one is underneath, Mom. Come up the tree. 2 peas in a pod. Okay, I'm going to take, I wish I was the other side. Not here. Oh, little one looking up at Mum. Now, Thandi, girl, who are you calling for? Oh, little one's calling back. That was a strange sound. It was like, yeah. Nandini. Great to have so many questions from you over the past few drives. Kirsten, can I have it all again? Because now I've forgotten what Nandini asked us. Sorry. There we go. So, the little one is actually going to separate from Mom, not the other way around. Well, Mom's going to start not tolerating this youngster as much. And normally at about anywhere between about 16 to 18 months or so is typically when the leopards will leave their mothers, sometimes a little bit earlier. We know it was a lot earlier with Hosana and Shongile, and sadly Shongile we don't think is around anymore because there's been no sightings of her for a very, very long time, and we've even tried to find out from Manuleti if they've had any sightings. Of course we don't know. She could have moved off into Kruger, but with that whole situation that happened between, well, Thandi and Tamba was around, Hosana was also there, and Tingana popped in later. We don't know, but we know that Shongile and Thandi had a fight, and the reality is that Thandi could have quite easily overpowered Shongile with not just her size, but also with her experience, and killed her, because she posed a threat. Okay, we're going to jump onto the road again. So that was very sad, but Hosana has thrived. He's done really well. I've now chosen the most ridiculous gap to go through between logs. Oh, you're so cute. Oh, she's so precious. We'll try go a little bit closer now. I'm going to just switch off and roll there. Sorry, so we're driving now. Vim's trying to get you a view. Click, click. Go, 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 little one. Catch up to Mum. Oh, this is so precious. We are so spoiled. Now, I'm trying to remember. Tlalamba must be getting close to about 5 months old now? Somewhere around there. Look at this. There is a stalk happening. And Thandi is going to pretend like she has absolutely no idea what's going on. After this little pounce happens, I'm going to just move off the road slightly for the other vehicle. There we go. Watch you launch out of the ground. Are you going to? Yes, and of course, Mom tolerating it. Well done. Let me just very quickly reposition just so that these guys behind us can get a nice view as well. Again, we're going to be keeping our distance, but we've, of course, had the most magnificent sighting. And so we're going to try and enjoy her for as long as we can. We'll just catch up to her now because there's a bit of a bend, so there's no point stopping right now. Boing! Thandi, really have a spring in your step. Mrs. Grumpy, you can quite enjoy it when Thandi plays. I think we all do here. I think it's quite magical. Cool, I'm just going to go right further forward. And then everyone can now see. That is so cool. I am going to do a sneaky snap. I'm totally going to. Oh, there's something wrong with my camera. I'll have to play around when I'm off air. I haven't got my settings all right. But we'll make it work. Right, we'll let these guys go, and I'm just confused now as to what's actually going on. I just want to quickly check here. Johan for Taylor, what's your lock? Sorry, I'm very confused as to what's happened. Please can you stand by? I didn't know that Elvis was coming into the sighting. We'll call you in just now.
Well, what we have here is the ridiculous, because you have just been with the sublime. Look at this gorgeous piece of multicolored defecation here that I have found for you on this road. Now, what is interesting about it, of course, is mostly what made it. We can see that it has got a whole lot of packed uric acid crystals at the top of the dung, and then we have the actual dung itself. Now, apart from being completely facetious about it, it is quite interesting because it's clearly made by either a reptile or, well, I suppose it could be an amphibian as well, or a bird. Now, I don't think it's a bird, because if it was a bird, the bird would have, I've never seen bird make a, not to put too fine a point on it, a turd that solid. I think this comes from a tortoise. We have a tortoise that visits the camp fairly frequently, and he makes himself, she makes a bit of a mess around the place, except that there's not often this uric acid crystal on the top. It's often just a fairly sort of black tube, if you like. So perhaps it is a different species of tortoise. Maybe it's a leopard tortoise. I would have said something as large as a bullfrog, but I mean, this is the wrong time of year for a bullfrog to be around. Maybe a terrapin. It's possible that it was a terrapin. I'm going to go with leopard tortoise, though. So that is what I think that magnificent piece of turd is. Toby, you say ew. I couldn't agree with you more. It is pretty ew. I'm not going to put my hand on it. Okay, on we go. Christine, you say could it be a turtle? No, well, I mean, strictly speaking, a terrapin or a tortoise out here. Yes, it's so. Where did I read this again? Oh, yes, I was told the other day, I was pointed it out, in fact, by the red-headed harpy who's directing us today, that not all, all tortoises and terrapins are, in fact, turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises and terrapins. In fact, so I think all the chelonians can be referred to as turtles. So, strictly speaking, yes, that could have been a turtle, but more specifically, a tortoise, which would be land-dwelling, or a terrapin, freshwater-dwelling. It could easily be a terrapin, actually. I think that's not a bad thought. Alrighty. Let's see what else we have down here.
Well, everyone, there's not too much action happening with me at the moment, and I know that there's so much happening with Taylor and that wonderful Thandi and cub. We've left out Avoca males at the twin dams. We'll maybe pop in there a little bit later, but for the moment, they're not doing anything. So we're heading up towards Chitwa, and I think this is where I'm going to be heading right. And we want to see if there's any other cats that we maybe be able to find, because, you know, with lions you can pretty much bank when they go down like that. You've got a very good chance of coming back and they'll still be there. However, with this kind of weather, anything's possible. It's nice and cool, so it's not like on a very hot day per se, where when lions go down in the shade, you can almost guarantee that when you return they'll still be there. So we're just taking our chances, but yeah, I'm not going to sit with flat lions for the whole morning. I do want to go and see if we can find any others and anything exciting. So we started with the hyena, we've moved on to lion, and maybe we'll get some leopard. I'm still hoping to find some more tracks and signs and signals of where these hyena are. I'm not convinced just yet that we found the den, but and as I say that, we're starting to feel a little bit of rain coming down, and that might change our plans a little bit, but we'll see. It's just a little bit of a drizzle for the moment, but it does make for good action with the and that's, yeah, you can see there the rain, so we're just clearing that up, and it does make good possibility for the predators moving and grooving all day. If it's nice and cool, a little bit wet, well, that's still all right. So heading towards Chitwa, maybe we'll pick up on Tingana or Hasana, who knows. It would be nice to see either of them. Be nice to see any leopard, I would say. I don't think we'll be seeing Shudulu, because she's more on that other side towards Simbambili. And, well, we're nearing the corner. Now, Unga, you're wondering about the dams and if they dry out completely. Well, not generally completely, because well, there can be a little bit of intervention as well. I did notice, ooh, hello, let's just have a look at these beautiful animals there. They're not lions or leopards or hyenas, but they are pretty in their own right anyway. And they are one of the animals that will suffer if there is very little water, because warthogs are very water dependent, and they need to drink every day, sometimes three times a day, and you won't find warthogs where there's no water. So they're not a desert animal. You won't find them out in the Namib, because of that particular reason. So the water can get very low in the Kruger National Park, but with the management, because it is an enclosed area, obviously it is a massive area, I mean the greater Kruger being about 2.2 million hectares, so they do have the possibility of moving to different areas to try and access water, where like the rivers, etc., even though they might become streams or pools. But on these concessions, there will be a little bit of water being pumped from underground into little pans, and just helping to sustain the animals a little bit. They won't pump the dams full, they'll just give them a little bit of help in that sense, especially water. And sometimes they can also, if the grass is really getting degraded because there hasn't been any rain, sometimes the management can also put out some salt licks. But they do try to intervene as little as possible, creating less dependence on the humans. But once again, once we put a fence around animals, we do need to try and assist them in some ways. You see how they run off, those warthogs, putting their tails up, and when they relax, there we go, there goes up the little flag. A little youngster, looks like a little family group. Normally warthogs like this, they would have a number of piglets, up to about 8, but most of them fall prey to leopard and a number of different predators, even caracal, jackals, etc. But they can have even 2 to 3 sets of piglets a year. So they're very fast breeders, and they have quite a large number of piglets as well. So I think it's off to Chitwa.
What a gorgeous little picture we found here at Treehouse Waterhole. A pig watching us. And it is such a quiet, almost eerie morning. Just a few starlings in the background. Very distant hum of a group of tourists going on game drive. I can just hear the of the vehicle. But otherwise it is very calm and quiet out here. And that water pig has decided to calm down and carry on eating. We very seldom get decent water pig sightings on foot. Bright night, impossible to say, I'm afraid. I've yet to see latest census figures actually for the Sabi Sand. You say, what is the warthog population here? I really don't know. I will tell you though that when they do the census, it's normally done from the air. And obviously counting impala and elephants from the air is much easier than counting wart pigs. And so I think you'll find that they're grossly under. I mean, they have formulas for, kind of correcting for what they see from the air, but I'm afraid I don't know what the population is here. I'm going to say that in the entire Sabi Sand, I'm going to guess about 3,000 wart pigs. Maybe a bit fewer than that. KB, you're wondering if warthogs mate for life. KB, common question about mammals, of course. Here this boar is on his own. I think he's a boar. Let me have a look with my binoculars. KB, you say, do they mate for life? No, they don't. The boars will mate and then kind of move off and live in little bachelor groups, and sometimes they will stay with the sounder that they have, whose offspring they have produced. That is a young boar warthog. He's not a very old one, so that's why he'll be on his own. What's interesting is that, for me, what's interesting is that question, the psychology behind that question, because many of the mammals that we see out here, we look for a kind of human nuclear bond, if you know what I mean, and it just doesn't occur. There isn't one mammal out here that has that bond. There are a couple of birds, in fact quite a few bird species out here that do, and in the mammal, it's not a kingdom, in the mammal class, I guess the animal that comes closest to our pair bonding is the gibbon. Gibbons have pair bonds quite similar to ours. But otherwise you'll find that a pair bond that lasts for life does not exist much in the mammal kingdom. And in fact the human being and the gibbon, I think, are the only two that I know of. I'd love to know if anybody else can think of some. Plenty of birds do it. And as Kirsten acerbically points out, human beings don't need to mate for life, and she's absolutely right, of course. We are of human infidelity would argue against us being completely monogamous, wouldn't it? Whereas gibbons are completely monogamous. We're somewhere in between.
Well, everybody, we've just spotted this little male crested barbet, and he looks like he's fluffed himself out. It's a little bit cold this morning, so trying to trap all the little air particles in the feathers there and trying to keep warm. You can see it's a male because of the lovely bright colors that he has, and look at that very broad bill that he has. Very indicative of seed eaters. He uses that very strong bill to as a nut cracker, and lovely red there just above the bill, and then going into yellow, and then he's got that little black crest, and he's got all the little black and white sort of dotted stripes on the wing feathers and on the tail feathers, and they really do look like punks to me. And I think they are the real punks of the bird world. And nice to see that he's just relaxing here, letting us get a nice view of him. It's always quite difficult with the little birds especially. They're generally quite jittery and flittery and always quite difficult for us. I think there's a little squirrel there as well, yes. He came across. What's he eating? Came some seeds. Yes, and as I was saying, you know, the metabolism of these little animals is so fast. Imagine being like a squirrel. I mean, look how fast he's moving. It must be incredible. You literally couldn't sit still. Your tail is flittering all the time, and you've got to eat at 100 miles an hour, and, well, everything is just going so fast. What? I think I would die on my first day of a heart attack. But that does then obviously lead to a very short life, because their heart is pumping so fast, the metabolism is moving so fast, their hands are moving so fast, their mouth is moving so fast, everything's just, look at that, it's incredible. And then, he spotted something else. So I said that plant's got a little bit of seeds on it. Spicy is saying that his cousin living in your backyard. Well, that's very nice, I'm sure. The little tree squirrels and things. You must tell us what kind of squirrel that is that you have. Is there also a squirrel? A common tree squirrel, because I know that you get the red squirrels as well. I know that in Britain they're quite endangered, because I think it's the grey squirrel has now started to take over all the areas where the red squirrel used to be quite dominant, but they're a little bit softer or easier pushed out, and I think these grey squirrels that are coming in Britain are pushing those really natural red squirrels out. So we're heading down to Chitwa Dam. Let's see what's down there.
Right, we're also heading to a dam, funny enough. We're going to a Buffelshoek Dam. In case you are wondering why on earth I'm not with Thandi and Tlalamba anymore, it's because there were other people that would like to come and see her. She was moving into a very tricky area, lots of tambuti trees on a drainage line, and if she goes down there, I think even we would have trouble following her. So we wanted to just quickly try and slot everybody in very quickly. It was nice to see Tlalamba though. Like I said, I've seen her once bouncing around on a drainage line, but I could barely see her when I first got back in March, and then I didn't really have too much luck, and then I had that really short and sweet sighting of her when they drank from JC Brink Pan at Chitwa, and then they disappeared into Torchwood. So that was a little bit too short and sweet. And then today was like the first time, oh, there's a squirrel, there's the first, and a hornbill, first time I've actually seen Tlalamba properly and spent a bit of time with her, because another one. Squirrel races are on today. I'm just racing around. But there is a red-billed hornbill that I think was pecking through the dung. So, very nice to see. She's grown so much though. I mean, she's definitely not the teeny tiny little cutie. She's still sweet. She's still very cute. But I remember when Tristan and Scott and James first started seeing her, you couldn't even tell what her spot pattern was, or her spots and things were so closely packed to one another. What you got there? So it's nice to see her growing up. What are you eating? Probably ants or termites. It's very difficult to see what it's pecking away at. Very sweet. Shall we go count the goslings? What do you think? I think we should count the goslings. Yeah. Kristen, why don't you say it like that? Okay, wait, but there may be gremlins, but hold on. Because they won't last for too long. Is it even going through this little dip? Just checking. I don't drive Rusty often. Oh my goodness. Immune. Right, so there were 8 little goslings swimming around. Now we've got to count them. 1, 2, 3. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No! Did we lose one? That's so sad. That's so sad. I mean, Kevin is looking for me very quickly. Standing by, just on the radio. Any time. I'll send you some of those images. There we go. I took some pictures of some of the landowners with Thandi walking past the car. Now that's something you don't often get pictures of, and I'm sure that they would appreciate it. So I was getting email addresses. But look at those little legs. Well, you can't see them, but you can just see the way their bodies are moving, and they're pedaling very hard. Now I know it's very sad. I'm also sad, but at least there are still 7. We all knew that they're not all going to survive. That's something that we must remember, is that life is very tough for these little ones, and probably even more so these Egyptian geese goslings, more so than poor Tlalamba. Let me try get another view. I'm going to chase them back into the water. I'm just trying to think, maybe if I just go a little bit further, we might get a little gap. No, settle. We just want to see you. I'm just going to get into a better spot, and then maybe they'll come back. There we go. Now if they do swim back. No, you can go back to the sand, I promise. We just wanted to get a better view of you. Now, there are a number of different things that could have taken one of these goslings. It could have been a fish eagle. It could have been another raptor of sorts. It could have been a water monitor. It could have just died of natural causes. So we don't know what happened. Oh, hang on. No, they weren't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are only 7. I was just double checking. No, stay out in the open so we can see you. Off they go. And it was amazing to see. Remember, we found those goslings at Treehouse Dam one morning, and the little ones were so tiny that they were even taught that they must run and hide under vegetation. And the mom's not going to be able to defend them. And as soon as they start to get a bit older, they won't have to hide away so much. Drum, you said. This is quite funny, but it's not. I just like the way that you worded it. Sucks to be a duck in Africa. Yeah, there's a lot of things that can go wrong out here, and you can even see that Goose is keeping a close eye on us, and any movement may entice it to go back in the water again. And then I love how, I assume it's the male that might be in the water still swimming around. It's pretty cool the way mom is on land, and yeah, that is the male in the water, and male just also keeping a watchful eye. Now, the reason how I know that the difference between male and female, you can actually see it quite nicely. The male's got more dramatic colours, got a bit of a white head, and that sort of beautiful brown. It's not even brown. It's like a, what colour would you describe that as? Coffee mud, says VM. That's very descriptive. That is exceptionally descriptive. Auburn, that's the word I was looking for, yes. Auburn, I think, is a colour that we're seeing there around its eye. So a little bit more dramatic. You can actually hear them. Can you hear them talking now? Now they've stopped. Now they've gone very quiet. Beautiful. They are really, really amazing. Now they're done. Okay, I don't know if we're going to bother them too much, because I know if I drive along the dark wall, if I drive along the dam wall, they're just going to swim out again and towards those hippos, and those hippos probably won't enjoy it very much.
Well, we are at Chitwa Dam, and we do have some hippos with us, but we've also got some wonderful waterbuck that are coming down for a drink. And look at that, there's a couple of youngsters with the adults, the females. And waterbuck are one of the animals that leave their youngsters in a creche-like group. And this isn't a very big group, so this is just a small little herd moving, but you can often find 1 or 2 females like babysitters left with lots of little youngsters of that kind of age, and they then stay looking after them in a group, and the rest go off and graze. They're beautiful in the morning like that. And they're one of the ones well adapted, as like with the warthog, around water. You wouldn't find them in any kind of desert type habitats. Very water dependent, and they are nervously coming down to the water. They're obviously quite thirsty, but they know the dangers of the crocodiles lurking beneath. And there's some more of the jippos, the Egyptian geese that Taylor was watching. Lots of them around the dam here too. Nice to see. The Egyptian geese can be quite aggressive towards each other and other birds. They don't hold back. A lovely white follow me sign on their bum, the toilet seat. That's what they use to follow each other if they're running through the grass and through the bush. Very elegant. They always remind me of teddy bears. And there is an aeroplane flying over, quite far off in the distance. There he goes. Must be a wonderful view from up there. Oxpeckers calling from their nests in this dead tree just on the little island there, along with the red-billed oxpeckers. Red-billed oxpeckers. There are red-billed oxpeckers, but the red-billed buffalo weavers. Both of their nests there. Very raggedy, haphazard way of just putting their sticks all over the place. Not any real kind of neatness to it like you have with a lot of the weavers. And there we come across, we can see a lot of the hippos now. The sun's not out, so we don't have that golden glow. There we go, giving a bit of a call. And a lot of the oxpeckers going onto the backs of the hippos as well. That one looking on over to them. You can hear a lot of their blowing out of as they exhale as well. Yesterday we did see with that Verreaux's eagle owl, that nictitating membrane that comes over as it opened its eye. Well, the hippos also have that nictitating membrane, and I think crocodiles do too, and that's obviously to protect the eye when they're underwater. And these oxpeckers do spend a lot of time getting into those wounds, and that's why the hippos do chase them off. And Lisa, I also really love the sound of hippos. It's one of those really iconic sounds, along with the African fish eagle, and hyena and jackals at night, and lions roaring. And speaking of African fish eagle, there's the expert cameraman there zooming in on our resident fish eagle here. Wonderful.
Right, what we have here. Just to explain to you once more, everybody, if you have just joined us, these are not crash cuts you're witnessing. It's an attempted new form of linking between each other that will, I suppose, initially look like we're crash cutting, but we're not. There have been no technical problems today at all. Intellectual ones, many, but no technical ones. Okay, what we have here is a egg sac of some sort. I think that it's probably actually an Acoca. No, in fact it's not. It's a spider egg sac. And I wonder if it isn't a jumping spider. They're the ones that most often make their little nests, I suppose you'd call them, at the top of grass stalks. So I'm going to call that an jumping spider egg sac. And I think the spiderlings have ballooned away. It was just a piece of white that caught my attention. And I think it's an odd colour for things to be out here, because it is one of the most unusual colours out here. It's the most obvious colour to see, and so for predators bent on eating a few eggies, you would imagine that a white egg sac would be, well, very attractive to them. Then, over here, much more colourful, and in fact, this is very interesting. So that thing is luminous there, basically, that egg sac. If you look over here, I've got something that is bright orange and black, which, if you were just thinking about bright colours, you'd think, well, an orange thing must be pretty obvious out here, but it's much less obvious than that white egg sac. There it is, and it is a beetle of some description, a beautiful beetle, possibly related to a ladybird. Gorgeous coloured beetle, this one. And I think not running away simply because it's too cold. Now it will be that colour because it's probably poisonous, or trying to kid its potential predators into believing that it's poisonous. Orange and black is the colour of poison. So he probably feeds on some kind of a poisonous plant as a larva. Ooh, there's something else interesting here too. There's lots of interesting little stuff. Lots of interesting little stuff. I don't think that's English, but let's have a look here. Ladybugs and daisies, you say that that bug is your cousin. Well, it's not a bug, my dear. It is a beetle. But it could be your cousin. It could still be your cousin. There is an orb-web spider, but what kind of orb-web spider it is, I don't know. It belongs to the family Anaridae, or Aranidae, sorry. Now, why I came across to it was because, interestingly, yesterday I was reading about golden orb-web spiders and where they put their eggies, because you don't normally see their egg sacs in the web, like you would, for example, with the spider you're looking at now. That's the egg sac of a tropical tent web spider. But on the golden orb web spider, what they do is they put their egg sacs underneath the leaf, just about where you've seen this fellow going. So he's going up in there, and they pull the leaves together, just like this one's done, and that's where they leave their egg sacs for the winter. That is not a golden orb web spider. I'm not sure what kind of orb web spider it is. Yes, try and have a look this side. Seb can't see it from where he was. Yes, you got him there. And so she's probably folding those leaves around, and she may lay her eggs there. Lots and lots of spider action on this Sisyphus bush. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this Sisyphus bush is evergreen. I think that the spiders will choose such plants because, of course, the chances of catching food all year round are that much higher. And if you want to know if the spider is venomous, well, all spiders are, in theory, are technically venomous. That's how they kill their prey. But not so that it would hurt a human being, no, and even something the size of a golden orb web spider is potentially could bite you and give you a little bit of a nasty sting, but not dangerous to human beings. So yes, venomous, but not to the extent that it would be dangerous to human beings. Beautiful tree full of spiders. Kind of stuff that many people's nightmares are made of, but those of us who have got used to them, not so much. Okay, on we go. We're not too far from those lions now, so we'll continue on our way. We are hopefully going to get a nice view of them. We'll just assess and see if we can view them from a safe enough distance, and a distance that will make them feel comfortable, and if not, then we'll just extract away. So I would like to see the Avoca males. Yes, I would. Right, we'll continue down this path.
And we are going to continue down this one, James. So basically, there is one vehicle now with Thandi, and we're going to try and race back and see if we can't get back into that sighting. The only problem is that she's heading towards a thicket, a very dense thicket, and that thicket has got, like I was telling you earlier, lots of tambutis and a horrid drainage line. And we'll try head around there and see if we can't get back in, and that'll be quite nice. So, oh yeah, there we go. I'm being summoned. Standing by your hand. Okay, copy. I'm coming around. I'm just on Battalier Road. I'll be there shortly. Okay. We're gonna try. Hold on. Oh no, this cat's going across the drainage line. I don't know if we're gonna find her again. We're gonna try. I'm gonna concentrate on the road quickly. I'm gonna jump up ahead. Hold on, VM. We're not Ferrari sparring like I do after wild dogs, but we're going fairly quickly, which is always a lot of fun. We're being careful though, and watching when we drive. Now, obviously we saw Thandi stalking a little bit earlier, if you will manage to hop on the Sunrise Safari from the beginning. And Colin, no, I don't. She would typically want to hunt without the cub. That cub's going to be a bit of a hindrance to her hunting. They don't listen. I was surprised that Tlalamba came out after Thandi only went twice. That's unusual. Normally that takes forever. And so she's going to need to stash her away. I think she's just brought her out to sort of come say hello. Maybe little one is going to have a bit of a suckle when they sit down, but it seems like they are still on the move. Okay, we're almost there. Excuse me. Ooh, it really, the sneezing is a nightmare. Okay, so I said that was a dainty sneeze. It was a high-pitched one today, very high-pitched. I just really remember how to get to where I was, so I'm going quickly. Maybe we weren't even on Leadwood. Maybe we were actually on Battalier Road, but I don't know. Right, okay, well, I think Thandi is somewhere in this vicinity. We'll find her in a little bit.
Well, it seems like Taylor's having good fun with Thandi and Tlalamba. And, well, I've come around the other side of Chitwa, and we're going to go and have a look at the airstrip area, because I just heard a grey go-away bird doing a little bit of an alarm call. They're one of those birds that they can often put you on a little bit of a wild goose chase, because they can also very easily alarm call for birds of prey, and sometimes even just for the sake of it. But it's always worthwhile just to go and have a double check, because if it is right, well, then you score. If not, well, you just go on a little bit of a loop and you carry on anyway. But we always follow up on those alarm calls and any kind of clue or sign, especially from the eyes in the sky. Ooh, what do we have there? Is that a Battalier nest? Let's just see there. I think, well, that's a Battalier. But whether or not it's on a nest, that's very pretty. That's beautiful. Looks like it's on top of those. I don't know if that's his nest or if it's the red-billed buffalo weavers. I think there's a starling a little bit above it, maybe irritating it, but it's just quite relaxed. Nice to see a Battalier. Old French for tightrope walker. Because of that, and with the new bird books, they wanted to change the Battalier to the short-tailed eagle, so he doesn't have that real rudder at the back, so he has to compensate by turning from side to side a lot, and that's where the name comes from, tightrope walker, because he's getting his balance by moving as such. But they are often one of the first of the raptors to spot a carcass, And the vultures, they generally keep their eyes on a battler because he'll come down and they'll spot him from a long way off, and they generally follow them in. So it's good to follow battlers around because they can indicate, especially when you see them dropping down quite quickly, then they can indicate sometimes where there's been a kill or where there's a carcass. But this one just quite happily resting up in the tree. Beautiful red bill, and you see the tip of that bill is one of the reasons why it's called a raptor, because right there, that very sharp tip to the bill, that enables it to be able to rip and cut away at meat. Now, another thing that makes it a raptor is the nictitating membrane, which protects the eyes when it's flying at high speed and up in the sky, and another thing being the very strong and powerful talons and claws. So three things: that little hook on the end of the bill, the nictitating membrane, and the very strong talons and claws. That's what makes a raptor, if you were wondering. I'm still just listening out to see if we can hear that alarm call again. Dale, I also love the colours of this bird. It's one of the most beautiful birds that I think we see in the bush. And it's difficult for me to tell from here whether it's a male or a female. It's much easier to tell when they're flying, because I look under their wings and you look at the thickness of the black bar underneath, how much white they have. So if we had to see them flying, I'll then show you the difference between a male and a female. But I would just think that with the colors that is there now, I'm thinking that it's a male, but I could be wrong. I can't really see enough to be able to say for sure, but my gut feel says it's a male. Anyway, not the best view of him, but a view nonetheless, and I really enjoy watching battlers as well. So, let's carry on a little bit and see if we can follow up on these alarm calls.
Okay, so we are now close to where the lions were last seen at Twin Dams. We're just coming down this firebreak area. Tlalamba is in front with his razor-sharp, eagly eyes. There's a kudu through there, watching us. You can see I've got my wind checker out. Wind is blowing southeast. Now we are pretty close, and we might do one of those unscheduled broadcasts. I don't know, Kirsten, do you want to see if they're still here, or if they've moved, or should we just go for it? Yeah, so we're just going to wait and see if they're here first.